Hey guys, welcome back. So in this particular session, what we'll be doing is that we will be looking at another problem from SPL, right? So let me just zoom in. Why is it doing this thing? So let me just reopen it, okay? Don't want it to do any alteration to my PDF. Okay, so let's comment out a few things. Let's close this, select our pen. So it had promotions, right? That's the question. So it had promotions. It was formed 20 years ago by Barry uh, Gorkov to plan, organize, and run festivals in Arcadia. I think that's a place name. 20 years ago, right? That's a very old company formed by this guy, basically to plan, organize, run festivals. Okay, so event management company kind of thing. So it should establish itself as a major event organizer and diversified into running events for the staff customers of major companies. For example, many years it has organized lunch events, staff reward days, customer experiences. What did it do? Basically, for many years it had organized lunch events. For many years it has organized lunch events, so like for staff and all, and then staff reward days. Okay, customer experience for Cuisinne. What is that? Okay, car manufacturer. So it has organized all these things for this particular car manufacturer. Okay, and it has grown through a combination of organic growth and acquiring similar and complementary companies. Okay, so the growth of strategy has been what strategy has been organic or mixed, we can just say mixed, right? And acquisitions. So recently it purchased a travel agent, now operated as travel department of 8hats, to provide travel to and from the events that it organized. So recently what it did, it purchased a travel agent, which now operates as the travel department. Okay, you purchased a travel agent now which operates as a travel department. Okay, to provide travel to and from the events that it basically organizes. Okay, so Barry Gorkov is himself a flamboyant figure. Okay, who in the early years of the company changed his name to Barry Blunt to reflect his image and approach. Flamboyant figure. Let's highlight this flamboyant figure in the early years of the company, and then he changed his name to Barry Blunt to reflect his image and approach. He calls all the events jobs. A terminology used throughout the company. A distinction is made between external jobs and internal jobs. So external event for customers and then for internal jobs. Okay, so distinction is made. The company is organized on functional lines. So the company is organized on functional lines. The sales and marketing department tender for external jobs and negotiates contracts. Okay, so functional line kind of thing. Management the right. Sales and department basically tenders for external jobs, okay, and negotiates contracts. The sales manager receive turnover related bonuses. Okay, so sales manager receive based on turnover. Known for aggressive, and there comes the word. Once a contract is signed, the responsibility of the job is passed to the events department, which actually organizes the event. It is known for its creativity and passion. The operations department has responsibility for running the event or job on the day. Operations basically run it on the day, and then for delivering the vision, which is basically defined by events department. For delivering the vision defined by events department, right? So basically they are the ones who take over the job after the contract is finalized, and then after that what happens? So okay, sales, then after that it goes to, what was it, events department, then they pass it on to operations based on the instruction of events, right? Or vision defined by events department. And then the travel department is basically for any travel arrangement associated with that particular job. And finally the finance department is basically responsible for managing the cash flow throughout the company, throughout the job, raising customer invoices, paying supplier invoices, and chasing any late payments. However, there is increasing friction between the departments. The operations department is unable to deliver the feature and functionality defined by which is defined by that because of budget agreed by sales manager. Okay, so the pricing policy is too aggressive to meet the cost. Finance is unaware of the cash flow implications of the job. Why are you unaware? Recently, an event was in jeopardy because suppliers had not paid. They threatened to withdraw their services from the event. So supplier had not paid, and then they threatened to withdraw the supplier's services from the event. And then eventually Barry Blunt had to resolve friction between finance and other departments. Okay, they had not been paid, right, by acquiring further funding from the bank. The event went ahead, but if unsettled, Cuisinart, which had commissioned the job, okay, that's a very big company, right? So the sales and marketing department has also complained about the margins expected by the travel department, claiming that they are making the company uncompetitive. Travel department, why is their overhead higher? So there has been considerable amount of discussions of it had about the investment appraisal approach to evaluate internal jobs. Considerable amount of discussion, okay. A lot has gone into it, time and energy. So about investment appraisal approach, and then the company does not have sufficient money and resources to carry out all the internal jobs that they need doing. Consequently, the finance department has used the net present value method or technique as a way of choosing which jobs should be undertaken. Appendix 1 shows an example comparison of two computerized applications that had been under consideration. One job was selected because its NPV was higher than job 2. Okay, this much and that much. Okay, so I don't want to tell you about the specific details of the two applications, so I have called them job 1 and job 2. However, in the end, job 1 was a disaster. Looking back, we have gone with job 2 and not job 1. We should have used simple payback, as I am certain that job 2, even on the initial figures, paid back much sooner than job 1. Okay. So the payback period was the issue over here. Okay. So the NPV was basically greater because of payback. Okay. The approach that would have suited their mentality at that time was quick wins. Whoever choose a discount rate of 8% should be fired. Why is that? So inflation has been well below this for the last 5 years, and we should have used 3 or 4%. Also calculating the IRR would have been useful, as I am sure that job 2 would have shown a better IRR than job 1. Particularly as the intangible benefits of improved staff morale. Intangible, that's not included, right? Intangible benefits are to be underestimated, and then tangible benefits are just as important as tangible benefits. Finally, we should definitely have performed a benefit realized analysis at the end of the feasibility study. Leaving it to the project had ended, and it was a ridiculous idea. So Barry Blunt has criticized the investment appraisal approach used at Red Hat to evaluate internal jobs. He has made specific comments on payback, discount rate, IRR, intangible benefits realization, kind of things, right? So critically evaluate Barry's comments on investment appraisal approach used at Red Hat to evaluate internal jobs. So the first thing that I want to look at is, so that was for job 1, right? NPV calculation for 2% with a discount rate of 8%. Cost were this much. Why software is not there? And then staff savings is not there here too. There comes the staff saving in huge number. Improved morale is also there. Okay. Then benefits. That minus that, right? And benefits minus that, and then you get that, and then discount factor at 8% discounted at today's value. Okay, NPV was this much. So Similarly, for job 2, what has happened is staff morale. How much did these guys 10, 20, 30? Ooh, 10, 20, 30. That's like increasing at 50% or 100% every time, right? I don't think that happens. Here it is constant. Why? 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 Software cost, these are reasonable kind of thing. Staff savings 30, 10, 5, okay, they are equally spread out kind of thing. There is a bit of spread in that. Contractor savings, there is a bit of spread in that. Okay, it's the problem with the estimate, right? Okay, so basically what we should be discussing about is, so basically specific comments on payback, discount rate, IRR, intangible benefits realization. So criticize that. So we have to give that a good thing. So part A, time management will be critical as there are 5 elements to discuss. In 15 marks, and weaker students may overrun on some or all parts at the deterrent of part B. Okay. So in this scenario, Barry Blunt commented on simple payback as opposed to advantage over discounted cash flow, the selection of discount rate, the role of IRR, importance of intangible benefits, the realization of benefits. These 5 things are elaborated below. So basically job 1, all figures are there, total cost is there, savings is also there. So basically that minus that, right? So after that what do you have over here? Cumulative is over here, and then closing CF is over here, right? Cash flow is over here, and then so all these figures are there. So calculation figure 1 shows that Barry Blunt's assertion is not true. Both jobs pay back early in year 4. That is correct. So basically both play payback in year 4, and then if the payback time or time to payback had been used, job 1 would probably still have been selected because it paybacks in year 4 than job 2, right? Yeah. And then Barry also seems to misunderstood the limitations of payback. It ignores there is a limitation of payback. So basically it ignores all the cash flows beyond the payback period, which in longer project can be significant. This is another limitation, very important point, right? So in this example, payback ignores the fact that job 1 has significant higher net cash inflows on year 4 than job 2. That is correct. And then the discount rate. So the inflation is taken into account in setting the discount rate. However, interest foregone, the cost of capital, if money is being borrowed to fund the investment and risks will have an influence. Interest foregone is concerned with the opportunity cost of investing the capital in a bank deposit account and earning interest. The cost of capital is concerned with the cost of borrowing money to fund investments, right? So the risk premium would reflect the perceived risks associated with the two internal projects. This discount rate used will incorporate an allowance for risks which will determine the required rate of return or the hurdle rate that a project must exceed for it to be viable, right? So the information about risk-free interest rates during the period, the risk profile of the company, and the company's cost of capital using CAPM model or capital asset pricing model would have been of relevance. So even if there was an economic logic to changing the discount rate to 3% or 4%, this would have no overall effect on the selection of the project. In fact, it is likely to have made job 1 even more attractive than job 2, as the cash flow in year 3 and year 4 would have been discounted less. In fact, the discount rate of 4% is used, and this calculation is not expected of the candidate, then the gap in NPV between jobs 1 and jobs 2 increases. So in case of IRR is basically the discount rate which produces a net NPV of 0, right? If the selection is between the two projects with the same scale of investment, which is the case here, right? So then it has no effect on which project is selected. So the project with the greatest NPV will usually produce the higher IRR. That is correct. And then however, the IRR does not become important when any project selected has to achieve a pre-specified company rate. Or it does become important, right? Or when projects with different scales of investment are compared, but this is not the case. So the investment is same in this case. That's why it's not a big thing, right? So the tangible and intangible benefit. The fundamental problem with investment appraisal generally is the reliability of cash flow estimates made for future cash inflows and outflows. For both jobs, there seems to be inclusion of specific monetary values for which appear to be intangible benefits, better information and improved as Barry Brand says. These are important, but it is unlikely that either of these could be predicted with any certainty. That was my point. Particularly at the start of the project, estimating for later periods in the project is also very difficult. And it is significant that these benefits increase as the project progresses. The intangible benefits amounting to 110,000 for job 1 and 50,000 for the job 2. These intangibles are deducted from the analysis. Then in fact job 2 has a higher NPV. Where is that? Yeah, job 2, right? In fact, job 2 has a higher NPV than job 1. However, both are negative, suggesting that neither project should be attempted. That is correct. And then benefits realized. So finally, Barry has a fundamental misunderstanding of benefits realization. The feasibility study is concerned with establishing the business case of a project. So it's basically concerned with feasibility study of the concerned project, and it should identify the project's benefits and costs. So benefits realization is concerned with, so what is it concerned with? Establishing whether the predicted benefits in the business case have been realized once the product or service delivered by the project has been in place for some time, and it compares actual cost and then the benefits with those predicted in the business case. That's the difference of it, right? cannot take place after the feasibility study of the project, because at that point the project would not have been completed. So predicted benefits could not at that stage have been realized immediately because it is expected now. What is the second question? What problem do we have over here? So discuss the principal benefits and problems of introducing a matrix management structure. Okay, matrix. So it has promotions are currently structured in functional arrangements or departments, with each function representing activities, or each function representing the activities of the company that have either been acquired. Function, it just represents the function, right, which have been acquired, for example travel, and or organically developed. Each job is passed through functions, with each function focusing on optimizing its part in the transaction. Thus the sales department concentrates on winning the job by fiercely reducing prices, because sales managers are rewarded on turnover, not profit. The events department focuses on providing most rewarding client experiences, and the travel department on selling two travel options with best profit margins. The focus of the travel department can cause conflict with the sales and marketing department, and the operations department has the problem of trying to profitably deliver an event at a price agreed by sales and marketing department, but with the functionality promised by the events department. So based on that functionality, right? So the finance department has the responsibility of managing the cash flows of the job and then payment of invoices, collection of money. So there have been occasions where jobs have been jeopardized by the failure of company to pay key suppliers on time, right? The problems described above are typical of a functional structure. Let me just check something. Okay. There had been a big issue over here somewhere. Suppliers have not been paid. And they threatened to withdraw their services. Let's undo that. So the problem described above are typical of a functional structure, like where like everyone is just basically it's a bit narrow kind of thing. Like this chunk of people just focusing on themselves. So matrix could be a good idea, I guess. So it's caused by departments sub-optimizing based on their own objectives and interests. So the job is effectively being passed across the silos, suffer due to lack of coordination. So conflicts between two silos can often be dealt with by managers who are above the silos. So there is an example in the scenario where Barry Blunt has to intervene to arrange extra funding to pay suppliers invoices when the suppliers threatened to boycott a folk music festival, right? So the metric structure is an attempt to manage key elements of the company across functional departments. So this might be a product, project, or clearly defined client sector. Manage key elements, right? So in context of it has, it's basically jobs, or you might say events, or it could be project, right? So which are effectively projects here, and potentially key accounts such as Kunjam that need to be managed across Quizan that needs to be managed across functional silos, because you need to make them travel to the thing. So you need to have a coordination, right, between all this department. So each job has the characteristics of a project. That's what I was trying to say. Man, I need a highlighter. Alright, and then it has an established start, it runs for a few months, and then specified finish, which is often the event itself. Slowly, kind of thing, the events get organized, planned, kind of thing, and then delivered, right? So, such as the folk festival for the Quizan customer experience event, right? So, a multidisciplinary project team driven from all the functional sections would allow continuity and focus on delivering a successful and profitable project, because much of the company is project based. A set of profitable projects should lead to a profitable company. So decisions within the project will do some reflect consensus view of all. So basically that should reflect, I guess, decisions. And then the sales manager who is responsible for agreeing the deal will still be involved in event realization and will also contribute to the management of cash flow through the complete project. This commitment. So sales manager basically. So sales department also gets tied towards the uh, budget or delivery of project, right? So the commitment, it just brings in more commitment from them, kind of thing as well, and it's just basically a consensus view as well, right? So otherwise the other guys won't let them go away. So yeah, that would be interesting thing. So should lead to a more rewarding client experience. And then the need to keep clients satisfied is another potential element to the metrics, with account manager being appointed to key accounts with responsibility of managing clients across different silos and projects. Next thing is the need for project teams to reflect a consensus view will often means that the decisions may take longer in metric structure, and tension within the multidisciplinary team may lead to a large amount of conflicts. The conflict is more likely when cost and profit responsibilities are either unclear or counterproductive. It has the practice of rewarding sales manager on a turnover basis will have to be reviewed. Otherwise, there will be significant tensions between the line or function and then the project. So it has also been claimed that job and task responsibilities are unclear in matrix structure, so the company will need to address this. So job and task responsibilities is unclear, right? So Johnson, Scholars, and Whittington make the point that one arm of the matrix has to lead, in the sense that it dictates some parameter within which the other arm must work. So in context of case study scenario, it seems reasonable to devolve profit responsibility and work allocation to the project, leaving the functions to provide technical support and appraisals and competence definition responsibilities. The line managers become primarily responsible for the person, and then the project manager for the project. So such change would require a key cultural changes in it. Has very interesting problem, right? 25 marks. Whew. Good, loved it. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the day. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.